Hello everyone, good morning. I hope you guys are doing great today, and let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me loud and clear, and then we will start. Thank you everyone. So my view on dollar will start with the analysis of dollar. That's what I'm basically looking at. Dollar, pretty simple, pretty clean, nothing hard to understand. Pretty simple logic that I use. So that's the high. Our buy side liquidity is resting above there. That's our 4-hour weekly 4-hour week, right? Swing high. That's the swing high. So this is the week. If I measure the week, the consequent encroachment of this week will come somewhere near here, and price beautifully rejected from this 4-hour consequent encroachment of week. Okay, consequent encroachment of 4-hour week. That's what it is. And we do have this 4-hour BC right here. Do you guys see it? That's a 4-hour BC that was unfilled, but price is now coming inside of it. So I'm at least hoping to see a run here at 0.5%, the midway of this 4-hour BC. If price is still volatile and still delivering towards the sell side, then a run here will also make sense. 0.25%, the lower quadrant level of this BC, of this 4-hour BC. Okay, and if I take you guys on 5-hourly chart, that's what you will see. That's an order block that is aligning with our analysis from the 4-hour BC, right? Buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. So I'm expecting to see a run into this level right here. Price can reject towards the buy side after hitting this order block, but I want to see it's remaining heavy towards the sell side. Okay, or at least I'm hoping to see a run into 0.5%, this BC, this 4-hour BC. That's what I'm expecting to see on dollar. Very easy, very simple. So price got rejected from the consequent encroachment of the 4-hour week, right? Then price came down, got support here from this fair value gap, then came down, got retested this original break of point. Okay, break of structure. The original break of structure was here below the swing low. If I put a line here, you can see the price came down. Okay, broke the structure here towards the sell side, then bounced a couple of times, then came down, retested this zone. But do we care about the retesting of this zone? No. What I see here is price did a stop hunt here, right? Higher high, new higher high. So this down close candle becomes our breaker block, and I'm on 50-minute chart, and you can clearly see that we do have a BC here, and price is getting rejected from it. That's what I don't want to see, as we have a breaker block here. I want to see price getting support from it, remaining heavy towards the sell side until we reach at this level. If not, okay, do we have like equal high here? I don't see it. But price can revisit this fair value gap if it's not providing liquidity and getting rejected from this breaker block. Okay, if it's providing liquidity towards the buy side, then this fair value gap, this old fair value gap from where price got support towards the sell side, we might revisit that area. So that's my whole expectation and view on 50-minute chart on dollar. I hope it's pretty clear. Nothing here that I'm using complicated or that you cannot understand. That's it for a dollar. I'll go back to my Dow and US100. Sorry, Dow and US100. Yeah, these two charts. So I'm on US30 right now, Dow, and that's what I'm looking at. On Dow, we do have in overnight. Okay, if I take you guys on 50-minute chart on Dow, you will see a breaker block here. Do you guys see it? Lower low, new lower low, and this lower low took out liquidity from these levels. Okay, price generated equal lows here, price took it, and at the same time price hit a 4-hour BC. Do you guys see it? This is the fair value gap, this is the BC. Price came down, retested this, got support from this BC once here, then it got support from this BC twice, and when it did that, it also generated a breaker block. These are up close candles that you see here, that becomes our breaker block. Overnight price opened here. Okay, our Sunday opening was somewhere here, then price got support from this breaker block on Dow. But what I was expecting to see on Dow, a hit on this candle's body. Okay, as it's our breaker block and we care about the candle's body, that's where the most of the liquidity is. I was expecting to see a run into this candle's body and then running aggressively towards the buy side, but price got like support from the weak of this candle's body. If I put a line here, you will see that price got support from this breaker blocks week. And if I tell you guys, if I put the NQ chart right next to it, it will make more sense to you. On NQ, we had a nice delivery compared to Dow overnight. Okay, you can see that this is the same breaker block that we saw on 50-minute chart on Dow, right? The same price action, the same structure here. And on Dow, we didn't saw price coming down and hitting this candle's body of this breaker block, right? But on Nasdaq US100, you can see price came down, beautifully hit this candle's body, and then got rejected, as I was expecting to see on Dow. But yeah, that's what happened. Price delivered buy side liquidity aggressively, and now that it delivered buy side liquidity aggressively, it also generated relative equal lows. Okay, a lot of relative equal lows. If I take you guys on 4-hour chart, okay, what do you see here? That's a BC, okay, and that is unfilled. So I want to see price coming down into this BC. I'll talk about from where price can reverse, but first we have to know like where price can revisit. Does price has any like liquidity levels where it wanna come down? And on 4-hour chart, we do see it. This is the 4-hour fair value gap. Okay, if I take you guys on the hourly chart, you will see that we do have refined fair value gap inside this 4-hour fair value gap. Okay, so if I measured the 4-hour fair value gap, the midway will come somewhere here. So what I'm expecting to see a run into this fair value gap, this hourly fair value gap. And if I take you guys onto the 4-hour chart of Nasdaq, you'll see we do have a small fair value gap up here. So compared to Dow and Nasdaq, what I'm expecting to see, Dow delivering towards this buy side liquidity, right? And Nasdaq coming up, hitting this fair value gap, and then getting rejected towards the sell side. Okay, we generated liquidity overnight. Keep in mind that if you drop down to the 5-minute chart, you will see a lot of unfilled fair value gap, a lot of relative equal lows. So at least I'm expecting to see price delivering at this hourly fair value gap that I showed you guys. Okay, yeah, so that's my expectation on US100. I want to see price coming up, hitting this 4-hour fair value gap, and then dropping. And on Dow, I want to see price taking out this major level of buy side liquidity if price still wanna run. Okay, as we have a 8:30 news. If you look at the news, okay, I'll take you guys there. We do have a 8:30 high impact news. If you look at here, Empire State Manufacturing Index, not that I'm caring about what the news release gonna be, but it's a high impact news, so we should be careful, right? We'll look for trade ideas after the news hits, not before that, as it's a high impact news. Keep that in mind. We are not retail traders. Okay, we are patient. We'll just wait for our setup to show up after 8:30, but we'll keep doing tape reading. Okay, so that's my whole expectation on Nasdaq, to see a run into this fair value gap, then dropping, and on Dow to see price taking out this buy side liquidity, then dropping. Does it align with does my analysis align with dollar? Okay, that's a good question to ask. So for that, I'll have to take you guys on dollar. Where is dollar? Okay, dollar here. Yeah, as I'm expecting to see a run into here. Okay, and we do have a high impact news at 8:30. So with volatility, with a lot of volatility, what can we expect? We can expect to see a run into this, the midway, okay, of this 4-hour fair value gap, the midway level, and if price is still volatile, it can come down and deliver liquidity towards the lower quadrant. Okay, it aligns with my analysis on indices. I want to see them dropping, dollar dropping, and indices on specifically Dow clearing the buy side liquidity up here. Okay, so let's see what happens. I'll just put the NQ chart here. On 50-minute, once price delivers, okay, the news release, after that I'll go to the lower time frame. Now I'm not looking for any trade idea. I want to see where price delivers first. Okay, I'm not trying to predict and trade the 8:30 news impact release, 8:30 high impact news. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm trying to do here is to see what price does after it delivers the news. Okay, so before that, all I'm doing here is tape reading. I do have expectations. I want to see price coming up here, okay, then getting rejected. That's my expectation, as you guys know, but I may be wrong. Price can just drop into this fair value gap and never actually touch this 4-hour BC. Okay, but my logic, I want to see this BC is getting delivered first, then we can look for setup that will hunt sell, or that will deliver sell side liquidity. Yes, we have a lot of relative equal lows here, a unfilled fair value gap in discount, but I'm not expecting to see price coming all the way down here at this gap, at this BC. Okay, a run into this hourly fair value gap is very much possible, but I'm expecting that after price hits this 4-hour fair value gap. Until then, I'm just sitting still. I'm just gonna watch what price does and how price delivers, which side gets delivers first. Okay, once price clears out its hand, okay, once price shows its hand to me, I'll be able to know what it's gonna be doing next, or I'll be able to predict that. So let's just wait and sit still. I'll drop down the US30 chart on 50-minute. And this red line that you see on US30 that I have, it's the BC of weekly chart. Okay, BC from weekly chart. If you drop down to the weekly chart on US30, you'll see that we are above that BC right now. Okay, that's the reason I'm expecting a sell scenario. Okay, a run into this BC again, weekly BC again, as we did generated relative equal lows overnight. Right now it's just looking choppy to me. Look at the lows on lower time frame. So I'll put the US30 on hourly chart, and you can see we do have an unfilled fair value gap here inside the 4-hour fair value gap on Dow. So let's see how price delivers. What are you guys thinking? Okay, what's your expectation? Julie is saying, you said in Telegram that Bitcoin is going to 42. I never said 42. I said 32. May is down. How? When did I say May is down? I told you guys that I'm not gonna short anything until we reach to 32,000 on Bitcoin. Until then, I'm just looking for buy. OG Joker is saying there is a high probability New York AM session will visit current new week opening gap after taking buy side liquidity. Where is the current new week opening gap? Okay, we'll have to look at that. Our current new week opening gap is here, right? Yeah, 14.5. That's the new week opening gap. If you ask me, yeah, it's possible. It's possible, but I'm not expecting a run below here, but it's very much possible once if price delivers this 4 hours CB first. Okay, I'm expecting a run into this 4 hour CB, and now that I toggled on the weekly gaps, new week opening gap, weekly, new week opening gap, new day opening gap, you can see that price is rejecting from an old new day opening gap here. Price came up, cleared, offered buy side liquidity here, and then it got rejected. Okay, so what the newbies will think right now, that price should remain heavy towards the sell side, and it should feel the imbalances and all that stuff, right? But where they are getting it wrong, because they are not analyzing both of the chart. Okay, after ICT introduced to us the six sister concept, a lot of the things became way clear to me. Like I had a question in mind, like why price is not delivering the same way as I'm looking at like US30, then I'm looking at US100. They're delivering differently. Then US500 is weaker, US30 is stronger, right? Those questions that I didn't understood after IC released the six sister concept, those things got cleared for me. Okay, like now if I'm looking at chart and if I'm seeing a weak pair, okay, I want to see that pair either delivering to a premium liquidity level or a discount liquidity level based on the price action. On the stronger one, I'm expecting to see it taking out a major level of liquidity. Okay, the weaker pair, I'm expecting to see it's revisiting a fair value gap or taking out internal buy side liquidity, not delivering a major level of liquidity, right? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you basically will have to go back and watch a video that ICT made about the six sisters. Okay, it helps a lot to understand why price is consolidating in one pair, in other pair, why is it so strong. Okay, so I got my answers like that. I asked myself questions like that, and yeah, thanks to ICT that he cleared everything. So I'm not expecting to see a run towards the sell side now. I'm literally preaching for that from this new day opening gap. Don't think like that. Okay, price got rejected from this new day opening gap, but what's the logic behind price feeling all this gap? Do I have a logic to expect a run right now to see that price feeling this fair value gap without coming up here? No, I want to see price coming up here, hitting this 4 hour fair value gap, unfilled fair value gap, and then dropping. Okay, that's what I'm expecting. But anyway, I may be wrong. But am I placing any trades? No, I'm waiting for price to show what it wanna do. Okay, for the newbies, okay, sometimes even me, I find it difficult to understand like where is the correct volume imbalance is, or the fair value gap. Fair value gap, I think I never get confused now, but with sometimes with volume imbalances I do get confused. So if you are like me, you can use this indicator like ICT imbalances. If you toggle that on, it will show you the fair value gap. Okay, just ignore the fair value gap. We know how a fair value gap looks like, but at the same time it shows you the volume imbalance. Okay, that you may be confused, but if indicator is not confused, right? It will show you what is qualified for. So I do use this indicator. I've been recently using this. I came to know that this indicator exists. I knew that fair value gap indicator exists, but indicator that shows volume imbalance, now it's here. So that's the indicator. If you're interested in those stuff, or if you're finding it difficult, a little bit harder to understand like which one is volume imbalance, which one is like the fair value gap, which one is the liquidity void, then you can use this indicator. So how the dollar is looking, okay, everything depends on dollar, and dollar is just like coming back to the breaker block, and yeah, it's just chopping around there inside of our breaker block range. If you guys look at dollar, you will see it. I'm looking at 50-minute on dollar, 50-minute chart, and price came back to this breaker block, right? Do we have a fair value gap inside this breaker block? We do have a fair value gap inside this breaker block, and this fair value gap comes in at, I'm looking at 50-minute chart by the way, so this breaker block is coming at 102.514. So a revisit of this fair value gap is very much possible right now, as price is going towards it. Tall Joe is saying, did you get a new mic? Super loud today, but hey, I'm not complaining. Yeah, I changed the old one. I got a better version of that mic, okay? Blue again. I'm using blue. I was using blue Yeti something before. Now I don't know what it is. I just bought it and it's blue. And I think it's better than the last one, right? You guys should be hearing like a crispy sound of my voice, but I don't know how I'm. Is it good? Just let me know that in the chat section. Is it good, or should I just decrease the volume a little bit, or is it good? Thank you for letting me know. By the way, XLR, thank you. Daryl, can't see your cursor on screen because my cursor is on second screen. I'm looking at the chats. I'm also looking at dollar, how it's behaving, all that stuff. Okay, let's look at dollar. Okay, dollar is looking good. I want to show you guys that how a good breaker block behaves. Okay, so as you can see, that's our breaker block here. Down close candles, right? Fair value gap inside this breaker block. So what does it become? A fucking unicorn, right? An unicorn. Why do we say that a ICT concept as a unicorn? Why do we mention that? Because that unicorn provides support towards the price aggressively. Okay, that's what we want to see. When price generates a unicorn setup like this, a breaker block, inside that breaker block is a fair value gap. So what we want to see, price remaining heavy towards the sell side as it came back up to this breaker block again. Now it's getting rejected, so I want to see it's getting rejected, okay, heavily towards the sell side. That's what I'm expecting to see. And look at Dow, okay? Dollar is delivering towards the sell side and Dow is delivering towards the sell side. These candles that open, I'm on hourly chart, but if you drop down to the lower time frame, you'll see price is now manipulating. It's 8:17. After 3 minutes, we have our first macro 8:20 to 8:30, but we'll just sit still, okay? If price presents us a setup in between that time, do we care? We don't. Okay, we know that our setup will repeat again and again, so just keep an eye on dollar and see how price behaves, reacts inside this breaker block. Okay, we are not here to get right now. We are not looking for trade, so if this breaker block doesn't hold, don't think that this concept doesn't work. It works. We are expecting to see a run on sell side, but we are also keeping you in mind as we have a high impact news. Okay, so do keep that in mind. I'm gonna move this chart on US100. Okay, I'm gonna drop down to the 5-minute chart. I wanna see what's happening. Okay, this line that you see, that's our London low, 240. This low was created, and 3 o'clock, this was the low. Price came down, cleared the London low, and then it got support from this BPR. Okay, that's a small BPR on 5-minute chart on Nasdaq. This is the BPR. You outline it on chart and you will see price respected it here once, twice. So that's the reason I'm expecting to see. That's another reason, okay? By the way, I'm not like a heavy user of London lows, London highs. I don't use that much often. I never felt like I need to use, okay? The concept that I'm using already, like the breaker block and all that other stuff, and measuring the fair value gap, measuring the order block and all that good stuff. Okay, I always felt like that's enough for me. And that's what made me profitable. I never felt like I need to know everything that ICT has, because I came here to make money. Okay, so if I'm making money just using a fair value gap, okay, that's good for me. If ICT is telling me that I will make more money by using like a lot of concept, then it's good for me. I'll look into that. But ICT is not saying that. He's saying if you to keep it simple, okay, like this. So that's something that I saw today. Not that I always mention. So I thought about mentioning it today. That's the low of London, low price took it. So that's another reason that I want to see price remaining heavy towards the buy side. And now that I'm on 5-minute chart, we do have this CB right here that is sending price back towards the sell side, okay? Price generated a low here, then another low, another low. What does it look like? Trend line phantom, right? Price is generating trend line liquidity. So not me who's gonna be like buying until price offers and delivers, clears out these lows here, okay, preferably this low down here, but a run into this 1 hour fair value gap will make sense, but I'm not buying until that, okay? That's what I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna look for a short. As always, I've always been looking for a short since I've been live streaming. Did I took any longs, by the way? Did you guys saw me taking any longs? I think I took like 1 or 2, right? But not a lot. Mostly I was dominating on shorts. And dollar became bullish. Don't fluctuate your emotion with candles, okay? Each of the candle, you will see on dollar that dollar is now going bullish, then coming bearish. It's just chopping around. So if you are feeling like your emotion is moving with that one particular candle of dollar, you need to know that you are high in this drug. Okay, you are very high and you should be like getting calm and sober. You should not be high with this chart. If price is like controlling you with each candle's movement, then you are not good enough right now. You should be doing more tape reading and all that good stuff, but you should be focusing on the long-term view, like how should price behave in a long-term scenario, not like in a short-term scenario, okay? Like if you look at 1-minute chart, you'll think like, okay, I see a lot of relative equal lows, now I'm gonna short. But at the same time, you do have higher time frame liquidity level, a major liquidity level, that 4-hour fair value gap, okay? But on 50-minute chart, US100, we have a volume imbalance right here. You can see price came up, sorry, hit this volume imbalance, and this volume imbalance is aligned with the new day opening gap, okay? When I toggled on the chart, the new day opening gap, you can see that. That's the new day opening gap. Price came up, hit this new day opening gap, at the same time this volume imbalance. So let's see how price does it. I still want to see this CB, a hit in this CB, okay? Seven minutes until the news hits, and after that we'll look for trade ideas. Let's look at chat. Wow, you guys are just reaping the chat. What colors do I use? What on chart? You wanna see? That's the color that I'm using. That's the color code. You can take a screenshot. That's what I'm using. Asif Shaikh is saying, are we going to consolidation as we had a good move in London? Why? What's the logic behind just price calling out in a consolidation? Why? You're only telling me because of one reason, that price delivered buy side liquidity aggressively, so now we're gonna consolidate. Yeah, it can happen, but it's also Monday, so Monday tends to be a range bound day, so we'll see what happens. Okay, there was a good move in London before the London actually started. Okay, the breaker block that I showed you here, there was the good run. So that's the reason, if you guys don't look at the higher time frame, you will never understand why price is doing something, right? So the folks who just blindly was on like 5 minute, 3 minute, 1 minute chart, they never understood why price is delivering towards the buy side. Okay, they didn't found a setup. The setup was here. The setup originated here. That's the breaker block. Price respected this breaker block beautifully. Beautiful rejection. That's what you want to see from an ideal breaker block. Okay, price came up, closed the candle's body. That's the candle's body closure. You can execute at the second candle right here. Price made you profitable. Okay, if you drop down to the lower time frame, by that run, this run here alone, what's the point here? This run here was alone like a 45 point run. Not bad, to be honest. And you can just pyramid in your entry once price like drops down into this fair breaker block, right? But I'm not a higher time frame trader. I take the narrative from the higher time frame, but I execute on one minute time frame, 3 minute time frame. That's what I do. And let's see what dollar is doing. Manipulating. Look at dollar and look at indices now. Okay, price cleared out the trend line liquidity that we had here, right? A beautiful rejection from this candle's wick, consequent encroachment of this candle's wick. I wasn't expecting this, to be honest. I wanted to see price remaining heavy towards the buy side, but anyway, price is showing its hand, right? And it's showing it pretty good way that we can learn. Price generated a wick, big wick here on US100. Do you see it? Measure it, consequent encroachment here, came up, got rejected, delivered liquidity here, here, here at these levels. So you could have like taken a trade from there. Once you saw price rejected from this consequent encroachment, you could have entered at this candle. Stop loss above this candle's wick. Why above here? Because if price is coming out and going above this candle's wick, your trade area is basically wrong, right? And you are holding, suppose like here, 2R, easily 2R, or here, this trend line liquidity 1.65R, not bad. So price came down to these relative equal lows again. And our nearest point of liquidity is this hourly fair value gap. Okay, we do have this fair value gap here though, so keep that in mind. This is the hourly fair value gap here. That's all, another BC. If this BC is failing, price will come down and feel this hourly fair value gap. Okay, if this BC is holding, price will send price towards this liquidity level, this CB. That's how I'm looking at chart. Okay, I'm looking at chart. If this BC is failing, then in my mind I want to see price coming down, dropping down aggressively and feeling this fair value gap. If this BC is holding, okay, I want to see price delivering towards this 4-hour fair value gap. So let's see what happens. We are just a minute away from our high impact news. So price is getting rejected from this BC. Let's see how it does it. Did you guys saw this candle's opening? It opened here. Okay, away from this candle. When this candle closed, it was here. This candle's opening was here. So yeah, very aggressive. Okay, price is going to deliver inside this 4-hour fair value gap, okay, on Nasdaq. That's what it seems like. To be honest, I wanted to target this fair value gap, but price is delivering it earlier than I thought. So how long price can deliver towards the sell side? This gap seems reasonable, high probability target. This whole 4-hour fair value gap that can also get filled. But if you look at like on US30, you can see price generated relative equal highs. I think that's a SMT, right? That's a SMT. Is that SMT with yes? It's not. US100, no. So a run back into this equal high is very much possible. So it's just chopping around, doing nothing significant, okay? As long as price is not closing a candle's body below this fair value gap, okay? This fair value gap is holding price. Look at dollar, okay? Dollar delivered beautifully as we expected, as we wanted to see dollar delivering. This 4-hour fair value gap, so this 50-minute breaker block, right? I outlined it to you. I told you that's a unicorn. That's what we expect to see when dollar activated this breaker block. I shared the analysis on Telegram, so if you are not in my Telegram group, you should join. You will find the link in the description below somewhere. So you should join there, and you will see, once you join, you will see that I shared it early this morning, the analysis by outlining this breaker block. Okay, so what I'm expecting to see on dollar is a hit on this fair value gap. That will be an ideal scenario, but if you measure the swing from this low to the high, the discount will come in somewhere here, right? So that's a possible area for price to reverse, but an ideal scenario in my eyes will be a run into this fair value gap. Okay, so what Indices is doing right now is just basically they're moving together with dollar delivered towards the sell side, Indices delivered towards the sell side. So it's not an ideal high probability scenario for us to look for trade right now, right? But it's good to see that our analysis was correct on dollar. But if they were not moving together, we would have seen a hit on this fair value gap that I was talking about. Sorry, the buy side liquidity that I was talking about on Dow. At least that's what I'm expecting to see. Anyway, did you learn something from this breaker block? You watched it live. I outlined this setup in front of you live. The same thing repeats on Indices. Okay, the same thing repeats on Forex. So if you're just ignoring it like it's happened on dollar, but it will not happen on my chart, it will happen on your chart. And the same exact way that you saw here, it will happen the same exact way in your chart. Unicorns exist in every ICT concept. Okay, there's a unicorn setup. If you didn't find it, you don't have a model. In my breaker block model, I do have a unicorn setup. In my fair value gap model, the unicorn that I call is the BPR, is the inversion fair value gap. Those two are the unicorn in fair value gap. Okay, and then on the volume imbalance, there's also a unicorn. Do you guys know it? I think you don't know it. There's unicorn in macro. Everywhere there's unicorn. You just don't know it. Okay, and you will have to find it out. It's easy. No one told me that that's a unicorn. Like, you should look at those stuff and they will behave like that. Okay, ICT did told us that that's a unicorn. This fair value gap inside a fair value gap inside a breaker block, that's a unicorn. That's what we should look for. And you saw it live printing in front of you today. The same thing happens with fair value gap, but no one ever mentioned that. Look at the inversion. Okay, look at the BPR. Look at the failed fair value gap. Those failed fair value gap are the unicorn. Those BPR, balanced price range, when price has fair value gap in both sides, that's a gigantic pool of liquidity. If your analysis is correct, you want to see price rejecting or reacting or getting support from those levels. Okay, just like we did here. So let's talk about this breaker block. There's nothing to talk about. You already know what I talked about on Dow and US100, right? Until price shows me something, right? In this run, I participate in this run towards the sell side because of the news release. Okay, keep that in mind. We will look for setup at 9:20 to 9:30. There's no news impact at 9:20 to 9:30, and we'll find something. Don't bother. Don't think aggressively, impulsively. So I'll take you guys on my Telegram group, and we will look like what I shared when I did that. So that's what I shared on my Telegram group, right around at 7 something. Right, so that was the analysis. Price came down, closed the candle's body below the breaker block. Okay, that was the first confirmation. Then I wanted to see how the second candle reacts. Look at the second candle. How did it react? It reacted beautifully. That's how we want to see. Okay, we want to see this candle is coming up and hitting a fair value gap inside this breaker block. Do you guys see this fair value gap? Yeah, that's the small CB that you see. Price came up at this candle, hit it, and at the very next candle I shared the analysis on my Telegram group after I got like the whole confirmation, because I know some people will even push the button on dollar. So if you're pushing the button, then make some money, right? So that was a free money. If you know what you were looking for, you can take a partial here. I think you took a partial here, the folks who were trading on dollar. I'm not trading on dollar, I never did. So that could have that's the ideal place for them to take a partial. If they don't know what that place is, that's like the upper quadrant of that 4-hour fair value gap. So the ideal scenario in price to react is the midway and the lower quadrant of a fair value gap, okay, of a BC fair value gap plus fair value gap. But price can also reverse from the upper quadrant. That's the reason I'm telling you that will be a nice place for you to take a partial if you are in this trade. Okay, so let's talk about NASDAQ, okay? That's how you should journal, okay? You should write down your thoughts, what you were expecting, how you were expecting to see it. And once price does those stuff, make a picture, store it, okay? That will help you to find out your model. I found out my model like this. I journaled a lot. I did a lot of tape reading. Not only that, I took picture, I recorded my trades. That's how I did it, okay? So once you do it, breaker block is my model, but it may not, you may not find comfort with that model. Maybe something else is your model, like a fair value gap, right? So yeah, look for that. That's the reason I'm telling you to journal it. And I want to see price coming down into these gaps that we have, okay, here below. This is the unfilled fair value gap on 5-minute chart, but if I take you guys on the hourly chart, that's the unfilled fair value gap on hourly chart. So now the price like showed us its trend, we can expect to see a reversal from these zones, from these levels, or we can execute by targeting these levels, okay? We can do both. It will depend on price, like what is showing to us before our macro started and inside our macro zone. Until then, I'm not looking for a setup. I'm just analyzing, I'm just learning, just like you guys are here. That's what I'm doing here. So that's a 50-minute unfilled fair value, 5-minute unfilled fair value gap. So a run into this fair value gap is very much possible, high probability condition. Also, do we have lower targets? I do see relative equal lows down here, right at this level. $13,332.9, that's the level I'm watching. And on Dow, okay, let's talk about Dow. You're basically just ignoring Dow for a couple of days. So there was reason for me to ignore Dow because of the seasonal tendencies. Dow tends to provide low probability setup in this month. Okay, that's what I found. So that's the reason I was like basically ignoring Dow. There's the SMT, I think, right? To this high and this low, higher low, there's the SMT. If you look at US100 and US30 together, I didn't saw it before. Now I'm looking at it. Now that I'm looking at Dow, I'm seeing it. SMT here at this high, SMT, price generated breaker block, but there was no way that we could have executed here, right? You saw it. Suppose price was going below. If I was like watching it in a normal scenario, not in a high impact scenario, I would have pushed the button here, somewhere near here. Why? Because like as price has relative equal lows here, strong level of targets. So when price does something like that and price has a breaker block and it activated, I can execute early, okay? I can take aggressive entries based on this. So sometime when I share my trades with you all, like the trades that I take with breaker block setup, you will see me executing in a candle where price didn't close the candle's body below the breaker block. So why am I doing that? Because of my experience, when price generates relative equal lows like this, when price generates trend line liquidity, those levels becomes a strong liquidity zones for price. So once price activates a setup, it just want to deliver to those levels and then it can reverse. I don't care, but that's my experience tells me to watch for, right? And on 5-minute chart, that was our breaker block. Price closed the candle's body on 5-minute chart below this breaker block. Came this candle, no chance of entry if you were waiting for a full candle's body closure, but at this candle, it delivered beautifully, quite nicely, right? A beautiful delivery on 5-minute chart. Okay, ES, I'm looking at ES, and as always, I don't like ES at all. But I do see a lot of relative equal lows down here on ES. So price came down, hit our 4-hour fair value gap. Okay, look at that. Which one is the strongest pair? US100 or Dow? What do you think? Dow is the strongest pair. Okay, Dow came down, filled this 4-hour fair value gap, and what the NQ did? Where is our 4-hour fair value gap on NQ? That's our 4-hour fair value gap. That's coming right here. Didn't hit it. Right, price came down, came near to it, didn't hit it, left it unfilled. Okay, on Dow, on Nasdaq, and on Dow you can see that's our 4-hour fair value gap, right? That's the high of the 4-hour fair value gap on Dow, and you can clearly see that price came down, hit this fair value gap, and now it's rejecting. If it's delivering this buy side liquidity that I outlined on lower time frame, then this fair value gap will be IOFED. And if Nasdaq is leaving this fair value gap unfilled before 9:20 to 9:30, we can target this fair value gap. Okay, so that's the narrative that I'm building slowly, gradually. That's how I do it. Let price show itself like what it wanna do, and then we can execute. That's how I do it. Look at dollar. Dollar generated a long wick on 50-minute chart, a big wick. So when we see that, what do? We measure that wick and we wait for a reaction from the midway, consequent encroachment, and the lower quadrant of that wick. Okay, so let's see how price behaves on dollar. By the way, I'm talking about the 50-minute chart on dollar. So if you drop down to the 50-minute chart on dollar, you will see that big wick that price generated, and price came down. Where did price hit of this big wick? If you measure this big wick, okay, like the way I do, you will clearly see that price hit the upper quadrant of that wick. Okay, but that's not an ideal scenario for us to think about buy. Ideal scenario would have been price rejecting from the consequent encroachment 0.5 level, but we are not seeing that. So which pair should I focus on mainly to execute my trades? Which one looks good? I think it's is it Dow? Let's look at the higher time frame on Dow. Dow has this buy side liquidity that is yet to be taken. Dow hit this fair value gap. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna wait for my setup to show up in either of these pairs, either one of these pairs. They both look good to me. So price did some beautiful movement in this fractal. Okay, if you look at your own chart at this fractal and the previous price action, you will be able to see a perfect rejection from the mitigation block right here. Price, that's a mitigation block. Price came down. I'm looking at like 33,493 level. Price came up, hit the mitigation block, then got rejected at this level again. Price retested this mitigation block, then got rejected again. So yeah, let's wait for price to fill this hourly, 50-minute unfilled fair value gap that we have here down below. And we do have this relative equal lows. Okay, if price is coming down, I want to see price at least delivering in this relative equal lows. What I want to see price consolidating like this before till 920. Okay, if price does consolidate like this till 920, at 920 we'll look for a setup that will hunt and provide liquidity in this fair value gap, this 50-minute unfilled fair value gap. Okay, that's what I want to see in price doing. Price consolidating right now, providing nothing for anyone, but at 920, if this gap is unfilled, we can target this gap. DJ VIP 2011 saying, HYDRA, I told Discord is your private chat. Do you use any Chrome extension to record the screen? No, I use OBS Studio. Okay, about the Discord group for my private membership, I didn't create it yet. The group that you guys joined is just a normal group. So once I do, you guys will have it. And I don't know when I'm gonna do it. I wanna do it. I think I'm gonna create a private Telegram group rather than creating a private Discord group. So whatever I do, you guys will see. I'm not putting a fib inside the breaker block, okay, or anything. It's not a Fibonacci. I'm just measuring it. We call it the anatomy of whatever the concept that I'm using it on, like the anatomy of fair value gap, anatomy of breaker block. When I'm measuring that, that's what I call it. I think what I'm telling you guys is very clear. So if you still have question, I don't understand why you guys are asking me question, why I'm expecting what if I'm expecting something like this or not, or that or not. I already told you guys what I'm expecting to see. Okay, so that's a BPR. That's a BPR the price got rejected from. Okay, now I'm gonna drop down to the 3-minute chart. You can see the clean rejection from this BPR. I'm not gonna take this trade as it's outside of my macro zone, but I want to see how it delivers. Target will be this fair value gap. Okay, right here to our target. I'll still wait to see the next candle, the very next candle that will open. I want to see how that candle reacts. Okay, and the stop loss can be above here, above this candle's high. But I'm not taking this trade. I want to see. That's how I do tape reading. Okay, I do not push the button outside of my macro zone, but rather if I see a trade idea, I just point it out like this, and I just put this thing here, and I want to see if this price respecting my analysis or not. That's a BPR, gigantic pool of liquidity, right? Look at dollar. They both are manipulating. So okay, so it's not an ideal scenario for me to push the button on my live funds, but it's good to watch how price behaves here inside of this BPR. Okay, we do have equal high here, higher high here. These are relatively equal, and we have this unfilled fair value gap on higher time frame. So let's see how price does it. Don't get impulsive. If you are pushing the button, do it on demo, okay? Don't do it on your live funds, because look at dollar. Look at dollar and then come back and look at indices. What they're doing. They both are moving together. Consolidating, chopping around. So you want to avoid these kind of conditions. I avoid this kind of condition. I just do tape reading in this condition. Then you might ask me, when do you take trades, HYDRA? I do take trades. If I'm taking one trade in a week, that's enough for me. If I'm taking 2 trades, that's like a very good week for me. So look at dollar. Dollar is still delivering towards the sell side. As I told you guys to measure that week, okay, the week that price generated on 50-minute chart. We are not expecting that week to support price towards the buy side, okay? What we are expecting to see, that price coming down, hitting the 4-hour fair value gap, the midway of the 4-hour fair value gap, okay, on dollar. That's what we are expecting. So basically we are expecting to see this week getting fail to support price towards the buy side, okay? Let me show it to you guys. So that's what I was talking about on 5-minute chart, 50-minute chart. Okay, that's the week that I'm talking about. This is the week. Measure it. The consequent encroachment is here. That's the zone where we want to see price ideally rejecting, okay? So if price is coming down here, you want to watch like if price is rejecting or not. If price is remaining heavy, like just coming down and shooting, going below the consequent encroachment and the lower quadrant, you can expect to see a gap fill up of this fair value gap and hit in these order blocks. But price can also reverse, as we have this BC here, right? And this BC, the midway of this BC aligns with the consequent encroachment of this week. So that's the reason I'm telling you guys to watch it. Otherwise, I have a clean narrative that tells me that price will deliver towards the sell side. So yeah, keep that in watch. Watch how price reacts. We are here to learn. We are still new. So we want to know how price does things. Right, we are not here to force anything. And look, that's the reason I'm not pushing the button on my live funds. Look at both of the chart. What they're doing, they're moving together. So when they do that, and if you're new and you're getting confused, just avoid dollar, okay? If you have a clean analysis on your own chart, and then you are looking at dollar and you are seeing dollar consolidating, chopping, moving with indices, just avoid dollar. Look at your chart. That's the best option, okay? When they move oppositely, that's the best scenario to look at dollar. Anyway, on dollar, I'm expecting a run in this 4-hour fair value gap, the midway of this 4-hour fair value gap. Let's see how price delivers. And if I project the price by using standard deviation projection, right? So from where I'm gonna use it on 50-minute chart. So that was our last priced fractal that delivered buy sell liquidity. After that, we just had a market structure shift, okay? So we can project price towards the downside from this level here. And the -3 standard deviation, oh wow, price delivered it beautifully. -3 standard deviation projected, okay? Do it by yourself on your own chart. When you do things by your own hand and you see these things are printing out, look at that. The -3 standard deviation comes in at 102,381. Price came down, delivered this level beautifully. Our -4 standard deviation, okay? That's the level, okay, from where we expect to see price reversing. Where is this level coming out? -4 standard deviation is at 100 to 294. That's the level, okay? This is inside this order block, the midway of the fair value gap. So let's see if dollar is delivering down here or not. That's what I'm expecting, at least. And if I measure from this price fractal, okay, this price fractal generated a breaker block. Our -2 standard deviation comes in here. So anyway, I'm bearish on dollar. And let's go back. You guys know my narrative, so please don't ask me any question about narrative. I'm basically explaining everything as much as I can in an easy language. So if you're asking me a question about narrative, I'm not gonna answer it. That's the narrative. That's what it is. I'm pointing market in one direction. That's how I do it. And it's clear. If it's not clear to you, you basically don't understand a lot of ICT concept till now. So I will suggest you to go back to my mentors channels. There's nothing bad with that. There's nothing bad with studying those stuff. Me personally, I still look at 2022 mentorship. This weekend I was re-watching those videos. Every time I watch those videos again and again, I feel like I'm getting something new. I feel like I'm missing something, and then when I watch the video again, I get something new from those videos. So yeah, do keep watching those videos. One day you will understand, and one day you will make it. But right now you should be patient. That's what you should be doing. And on Nasdaq, what Nasdaq was doing, we had a trade idea here, but it's outside of our macro zone, right? We outlined the setup. That's the BPR. And what do you see here? Price came down, got rejected from this BPR, and we do have a fair value gap here. So what I want to see now, that price rejected from this BPR not holding price, okay, sending it towards the sell side. So let's see what happens. So now the price moved in our favor, okay? If I was trading this setup, what I will do is trail my stop loss above the high of this fair value gap, okay? This BPR. This is the high, by the way. I marked it wrong. This is the high right here. Before it was above this candle's bodies. Now I will do it like this. Once price moves in my favor a little bit more, I'll put it at this swing high. A revisit of this gap is very much possible again, but I'm not expecting to see price coming up and going above this high here. If it does that, it will deliver liquidity towards this relative equal highs here, then this high. Okay, so that's also possible. Let's look at Dow. Dow is just delivering towards the sell side liquidity aggressively. Do you guys like my tape reading, the way I'm doing it? If you guys like it, can you smash the like button? I only see 80 people. Hit the like button. Can we get to like 200 likes? As 300 people watching. And I'm outlining setups in front of you live. I'm explaining everything in front of you in live price action. No hindsight. Okay, if you are enjoying it, I will appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up button. So look at dollar. Dollar is coming back to our breaker block again. And now that it's coming back to this breaker block, if I drop down to the lower time frame, what do you guys see? Dollar generated relative equal lows down here. Okay, relative equal low right here, then this low here. That's the volume imbalance. Price came down, got support from this volume imbalance, but At this aggressive delivery towards the breaker block, it generated relative equal lows. So what does it mean? It's a sign from price that it wanna come back down to this level again. So now what you wanna do, what you are supposed to do right now is to know from where exactly price will reverse. Ask yourself questions like that. When you do see relative equal lows like this, ask yourself from where price can reverse. Okay, what's the most high probability zone for price to reverse in my mind? Okay, don't look at my analysis. In your mind, what do you think? From where price will reverse? From where price can reverse? What can be our last line of defense on dollar to expect bearish price action? Okay, that's a good scenario. Okay, that's how I want to see they're moving opposite to each other. Align your analysis. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you from what's our last line of defense, but do you need me to tell you? Align it with your analysis on your own chart. If you're trading on US100, look there from where price can reverse towards the buy side. Okay, from where price can reverse towards the sell side, and ask yourself question, aligning the logic with dollar. So I'll go back to the Nasdaq. Do you guys see now why I didn't push the button even after seeing a setup presenting itself in front of me? Because from my experience, I know price will chop like this at this time. Okay, what do I tell you guys always? At 8:20, after 8:35 till 9:20, that's the time you just want to tape read. Okay, me personally, that's what I tell myself. You just want to tape read that. You don't want to be getting impulsive. If there's a setup that is presenting itself in front of you, if it's clean, you should not care. You should hold on to yourself and wait for the macro zones to start, because that's the time period when price presents a clean setup in front of us. Look at the choppiness here. Okay, dollar delivering towards the buy side, then indices also delivering towards the buy side. It's happening like that. It's not a high probability condition even that I saw a setup. So that's the reason I didn't push the button on my live funds. I just outline it, not even the demo. Let's just watch how it delivers. Okay, and we look for a setup at 9:20. That's what we are gonna do. So far what I'm expecting to see a run into this liquidity level, right? If price is just consolidating like that, at one point of my stream I told you guys that I want to see price consolidating right now before the 9:20 to 9:30. I want to see price consolidating. If price consolidates till 9:20, at 9:20 we can look for a setup that will target this unfilled 50-minute fair value gap. If I take you guys back into the 50-minute chart, sorry, I think it was on 5-minute. Yeah, 5-minute chart, you do see that there's an unfilled fair value gap. So you can expect to see a run into this fair value gap if price is consolidating and leaving it unfilled. If price is delivering it before the 9:20, we'll have to look for another trade idea or a continuation of the trend. Okay, suppose we can target these lows right here. So price came back up, right? Retested a couple of order blocks from here. So now let's see if it rejects towards the buy sell side or not. Obina is saying mean threshold of order block or complete repricing of the fair value gap will be the last line of defense before price drops. Dow going down, Nasdaq up. There is no symmetry. There is no symmetry. Less probability. Yeah. So let this pair just consolidate. Okay, for us at 920 to 930. Me personally, I'll look for a setup that will hunt liquidity down here. Look at Dow. Okay, Dow is delivering. Dow is the strongest pair here, and the six sister is the NQ, right? Dow delivered this fair value gap beautifully, this 50-minute fair value gap, and NQ left it untouched. So NQ, what do we expect? If you guys understood the six sister concept, right? We expect to see NQ coming up to a premium level and then dropping. According to this price fractal here, from this high to this low, our premium comes in at this BPR. Right, from this low to this high. Look at that, price came up, right? I'm only considering the candle's body because my mentor always tells me that's where the most of the liquidity is, most of the volume of a candle is here. Okay, so that's the reason I'm using the candle's body to project the price, to use my Fibonacci. That's how I use it. I don't need Fibonacci to show me that's the sweet spot like 0.62 and all that stuff. I already know it. If price is coming up here, it's hitting the optimal trade entry level. So that's how I use my Fibonacci. That is a green shaded box, a red shaded box. That's it. And if I zoom in a little bit, what do you see? Our BPR is coming into the premium. So do I need to pull up this Fibonacci to know that this BPR is in premium? No. You guys didn't saw me doing that when I told you guys, okay, I do see a BPR price rejecting from a BPR. I do see a trade idea that will be our target. I never used a Fibonacci. Once you get experience, you don't need to be honest, to use it. You won't feel like to be using it. So price is rejecting from this fair value gap again, this BPR again. So let's see how price does it. And Dow, what can we expect on Dow? Okay, as we are getting near to our macro, I think I'll look for setup on Dow. Let's see how Dow is behaving. So Dow is right now inside of the 4-hour fair value gap. That's the 4-hour fair value gap. Okay, and we do have an inversion. Okay, I forgot to tell you guys that, but I do see it right now. That's an inversion right here. That's a failed CB that was supposed to send price towards the sell side liquidity. Didn't did that. So that's a fair value gap. That's a failed fair value gap. So I'm expecting to see a run into this fair value gap, this inversion, and then a rejection from this fair value gap. If price is not doing that, our last line of defense will be this volume imbalance that you see on 4-hour chart. Okay, that will be our last line of defense to expect a bullish price action. I'm expecting to see a run into this inversion before the 920 to 930 or inside our macro zone. Okay, I'm expecting to see a run into that, and then we can expect to see a reversal as we have this unfilled fair value gap. Okay, I'm on hourly chart and you can see that that's the unfilled fair value gap. And keep in mind the long term, I'm expecting a bullish price action as we are inside of this weekly fair value gap. Okay, if you drop down or go up and look at the weekly chart on Dow, you will see that we are inside of this weekly fair value gap, and price showed a good rejection that you don't want to remain heavy towards the buy side on weekly chart. So long term I'm bullish, that's what I'm expecting. And below this inversion, okay, we do have relative equal lows, but if price is coming down and hitting this inversion right here, it will also be delivering a lot of liquidity. It will also be filling a lot of liquidity right here, and it will be unfilled or imbalanced towards the buy side. So what I can expect to see if I measure this fair value gap, this hourly fair value gap, okay, this the hourly fair value gap, the lower quadrant is here, right? So I'm just gonna mark these levels and then I'm gonna drop down to the lower time frame. Okay, that will make sense to me, that from where price wanna reject, that will give me an extra confidence in my analysis. And in this price fractal, do you guys see a fair value gap here? 0.5%. Okay, that's the midway. Okay. Now it's good. So that's also a fair value gap. Okay, so that's a failed fair value gap, failed CB. So we can also expect to see a run into this fair value gap and then rejecting, or we can target this inversion. Okay, if price is not delivering into this inversion before the 930, we can expect to see price coming down, hitting this inversion here, and then coming up and hitting this inversion. Okay, this hourly inversion here. So either way we will have a trade idea. That's how I'm building my narrative here. If price delivers and comes up here, delivers first, then I'll look for short. If price comes down here and delivers first, then I'll look for long, targeting these levels, these two levels. And it perfectly aligns with this failed BC. So let's see how price does it. So that's the whole trade plan from my side on Dow. Now you can have your own analysis and see like if it's supporting, if it's going with your analysis or not. If it's going with your analysis, stick with it, keep it. If not, then just avoid my analysis. And here on Nasdaq, you can see the price is consolidating as I was expecting to see. As I expected to see price consolidating inside this range till 920, and at 920 we can target this fair value gap. So let's see which one provides us a clean setup. And what is dollar doing? Dollar. Look how dollar is generating sell side liquidity. Look at that. So this is not a valid trade idea to me anymore. I'll look for a new trade idea at 920 to 930. Okay, on indices, okay, on Nasdaq we do have a breaker block right here. Now the price delivered this liquidity level right here again, so we can consider this level right here as a stop hunt. Okay, this breaker block is not yet activated, so I'm just gonna outline it to you, and once it gets activated, and if it does inside of our macro zone, we'll have a trade idea. So that's our stop hunt here, and we are inside this BPR, by the way, and that this BPR is in a premium level. Keep that also in mind. Some folks here on Twitter, I see, like they're asking me, do you use higher time frame for your trade analysis or something like that? I just want to block them, because if you're watching me or any other ICT trader or even ICT himself, we never ever execute without looking at the higher time frame, and you are coming here and asking me if I am using it or not. Ideal ICT students should use the higher time frame narrative. You're just lazy, you are looking for a shortcut that I don't have to use a higher time frame narrative, I'll be able to execute on the lower time frame. Yes, you'll be able to execute, but at least look at the 50-minute chart, build your narrative from the higher time frame, and then execute. Why are you so lazy? And on my live chat screen, I also do see some folks, some newbies asking me questions like that. Do you use higher time frame? What the hell am I using here? So that's our breaker block here. Now what we are waiting for to see a candle's body closure below this last down close candle. I'm on 3-minute chart. By the way, this trade idea is contradicting with the dollar, okay? Dollar generated sell side liquidity, a lot of sell side liquidity towards the, a lot of sell side liquidity, so equal lows as a form of equal lows. So let's see what it does, and we are inside of our macro 921. So the trade idea, I want to see price closing candle's body, and then I want to see the second candle behave, how the second candle behaves. Okay, so the trade idea will be something like this, targeting a fill up of this gap or a hit in this gap. So let's wait for an entry. Let's see if price wanna give us an entry or not. By the way, warning again, if my analysis is not matching with your analysis, and if you don't want to take the risk, don't push the button with me, okay? I'm still waiting. Still waiting. Now I'm in. Wow, that was a lot of sound. I only pushed the button once, but I heard the sound like 2-3 times. So that's the second candle. This candle came up to this breaker block, retested this breaker block. So our stop loss will be above this breaker block. Target 2R from here, right? Where can we take a partial? That's a good question to ask. I think a good level for us to take a partial will be below this, not below this low. I don't see where can we take a partial. By the way, price is rejecting from this inversion right here. So if you guys like don't care about the inversion, you should look at the inversion here. That's a failed fair value gap, okay? Price was supposed to provide support for price towards the sell side from this fair value gap, but it didn't. It got failed, and then price came down, retested this fair value gap again, here again. So let's see if this fair value gap fails or not. If it's holding price, then our analysis is wrong. It will just harm buy side liquidity, but at the same time we do see relative equal lows down here, right? And inside of our breaker block we do have a fair value gap. Okay, on 3-minute chart, actually price didn't close the candle's body below this breaker block, right? We saw aggressive rejection from this 1-minute inversion. This 1-minute inversion. So our TP is right here. This, the level where I'm putting my TP is also logical. This is a 5-minute unfilled fair value gap. If you guys want to see, that's a 5-minute fair value gap that is unfilled. So let's wait and see how price behaves. Right, I'm willing to take this risk. If price is just hitting my stop loss, me personally, I don't care. That's the reason I really don't want to push the button in front of you. Like, some of you will take the trade, and when you lose a lot. So I'll take a partial below here. I think it's reasonable, and that will be like a 2R. Yeah, I don't like this rejection at all inside of this inversion. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a partial right here below these lows. Okay, because of the, look at the rejection in this candle. I want to see this inversion getting failed to hold price, but at the same time I'm looking at dollar. They're moving same together, so no one's stopping me from being a little bit more cautious. Okay, I took like 30% of my position off here below this low, and now the price gave us a partial, we can move our stop loss in the upper quadrant like this, and another level. Okay, that was like the original level where we were supposed to take a partial, so another partial would be here below this low that I told you guys. So now the price gave me 2 partial. What I'm gonna do, I'll put my stop loss right here at the entry, and I'll just let it hit my TP. Okay, that's how I do. I'm not trading on a funded account, so even the smaller partials matters a lot to me. I know in a funded account, when you take a partial, it affects your risk to reward ratio, but me, I'm not doing that. I'm using my own personal funds. So whenever price gives me a chance to take a partial, I take it. I'm paying myself. I believe in like paying myself first. That's what I do. But if you are trading with your life funds, your funded account or something like that, then you should come up with a different strategy. Okay, that's my strategy. That's what I'm sharing to you in front of you here. That works for me. So if you were asking me a noob question like, why are you taking partial? Why are you taking so many partial? That's how I trade. That's why I'm doing something like this. If it does not suit you, then look for another model. Okay, I talked about moving stop loss, but put in my stop loss here. Sorry, I was looking at my live trade. Anyway, it's 9:28, and do you guys saw me like predicting the actual Judas move? The newbies, what they do, they wait for the Judas move to happen and then trade. Me, I execute before the Judas move, and I predict the Judas move where it will happen. Okay, that's how I do it. I take part in the actual fucking Judas move, not the swing after that. Okay, I'm predicting the real Judas thing, the real volatility that happens at 9:30 that everyone fears. Everyone is like, wow, it's not tradable. It's fucking tradable with my macro that I gave you guys, 9:20 to 9:30. Look for a setup inside of that time, and you saw me outlining this setup in front of you before it even formed. Okay, I told you guys that I want to see price consolidating inside this range. And if it consolidates before like till 9:20, do you guys heard me saying that? Till 9:20, then we can look for a setup that will target this 5-minute unfilled fair value gap. Did you guys heard me saying the exact same thing before this whole price action happened? If so, let me know in the chat. Say yes. So that's how you do it. The reason behind me literally saying to you that it happens like this, I'm showing you the logic. I'm telling you the logic, okay? That's how you should build the narrative in your trades. So we basically got like 2R right here. The level where I put the partial, took the partial, it was like 2R. Here is more than 2R. It's like 2.5R. And look at the inversion here. This inversion is supporting price again, okay? Look at the 930 move. This inversion, okay? Price just hit our TP. A beautiful trade. Oh my god. So the TP got activated here, okay? I think I should close my trade on my live funds now. Yeah, everything is closed. So you just saw me outlining a live trade in front of you, predicting the real Judas fucking move in front of you, and it happened exactly the same way I told you since the beginning. So do I deserve a thumbs up from you right now? Do I deserve it? That's the question. If I deserve it, you should give it to me. What I'm doing right now is because of the journal thing. I'm just outlining when I'm doing live, okay? I don't really get the time to journal it, but let me do it. It's for my own personal development, so I'll keep talking again after I finish outlining everything. Where did price delivered? Okay, if you are watching, look at like where price did delivered right now. Wow, look at the movement. Before I take a screenshot, it just so a question that I want to answer, like when I'm trading personally, how do I control my emotion? When I get emotional, what I do drawings in this chart, okay? I outline everything. I don't have any, I have everything saved right here in version, but I still keep typing. That helps a lot, you know, to control my emotion because I'm getting engaged in drawings. So that's the reason you always see me doing a lot of stuff in my drawing. I like it. It's not for you, it's personally for me. So that's the premium PD array, as I told you guys, right? Premium PD array. And that's our discount PD array. Go back into my Telegram group and you will see me telling you that before the session started, I told you guys a small movement towards these relative equal lows that I showed you guys that when I started my stream will make us profitable, right? And that's what I meant. So that was the whole trade. Now it's time to take a screenshot. If you guys want to journal it, you can do it with me. You can take a screenshot and save it. Later in future, you can watch it or review these trades. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm just gonna keep tape reading. What the hell? Why is it buying? This chart just bought like 2 contracts without me, or it didn't bought, but I heard the sound. Where did it bought? Anyway, do you guys see how easy it is to outline a setup and then taking a live trade? Okay, setup in front of me always comes at the end. I always put the narrative first, the logic first, and why price should do something before it does. That's the whole narrative. If you don't see that in your trading, if you don't know how to do that, you are still a lot of months behind than all of us, and you should put more time into your trading. Demo trading, okay? When I'm saying trading, I'm meaning demo fucking trading, not live trading. Okay, if you push your button in live funds, you will never ever be able to understand what's the logic behind all of the things that I'm doing here. Wow, look at Dow. Look at Dow. Dow just delivered like beautifully. Aggressive move towards the sell side. Dow cleared every fucking liquidity that it had on sell side. Wow, beautiful Dow, okay? Even though I'm ignoring her, but it's good to see like she's moving so fast, so beautifully. Dow didn't respected our last line of defense, the volume imbalance. Okay, that's the reason for like just couple of months I'm just focusing. For this month I'm focusing on Nasdaq, because Nasdaq will provide clean setup in this month. The next month in June, okay, this month is May, right? In June, July, Dow will become way more clear. Okay, that time you will see me outlining setups in front of you in Dow, and you will see the same thing like happening on Nasdaq, the same aggressive movement. This choppiness, okay, it will not be on Dow. Dow will provide more cleaner setup on June and July. That's the time when price will distribute towards the sell side. Okay, it's building, it's generating a lot of liquidity towards the sell side, and in June and July, it's the seasonal tendencies. If you watch the core content of my mentor in his YouTube, you will understand what I'm talking about. So I want to see from where Dow can reverse. Dow revisited, okay, Dow revisited our this fair value gap on hourly chart. If you guys are watching with me, that's a BC. Dow revisited this BC, hit the midway of this BC, okay? So from where Dow can reverse? That's a good question. Let's see from where it can reverse. Let's build our logic first for our next macro. I'm done for today. I took one trade. In my broker, this trade, the TP got activated right here, okay? So me, I'm done for the day completely. I was executing on a 2-hour trade. I got 3-hour because of the volatility. My TP got activated after a little bit of movement towards the sell side. My TP was here below this low, but you guys know, like when we have a lot of volatility like this, no broker will be able to hit your TP right here. It will execute somewhere below here and at this level, and my TP was executed here. So I basically got 2-hour, more than 2-hour, around like 2.5 hour because of these partials that I took. So I made my ends meet for the week in this one trade. So yeah, I'll just be more selective in my trades from now on. So that's the CB. That's the BC, and price came down. If I measure this BC on Dow, the midway of this BC will come somewhere near here. And it's getting rejected from it. So we have 2 zones from where we can still expect to see Dow providing buy side liquidity, and the zone are the midway and the lower quadrant of this 4-hour fair value gap. Look at the dollar right now. dollar came back to our last line of defense again. Okay, the breaker block that I'll outline to you, that breaker block had a fair value gap. I'm talking about 15-minute chart on dollar Dixie. So if you go into the 15-minute chart on dollar, you'll see a breaker block. Then there's a fair value gap inside the breaker block. Price came up, got rejected from this breaker block as we expected. Then it is coming back up. It came back to it again right now, and it generated liquidity towards the sell side. Okay, I pointed out those sell side liquidity in front of you, so we can expect to see price respecting our breaker block again. This fair value gap that I outlined, that's our last line of defense. If price is going above there, this fair value gap, and closing a contest body above that, it will hunt buy side liquidity, just know that. So it's matching with our analysis on NQ. And look at indices on US30. What do you see? US30 behaving quite beautifully, as we are expecting to see a rejection from the midway. That's an ideal rejection, okay? That's the ideal scenario. And on Nasdaq, price filled our 4-hour fair value gap completely. So sorry, 1-hour fair value gap. This is the fair value gap I'm talking about. This is the 1-hour hourly fair value gap. Price filled it, totally fill up. In price is still inside our 4-hour fair value gap. I'm talking about NQ. I'm talking about the 4-hour fair value gap. That's the low, that's the high of this fair value gap, and we want to see price rejecting from the consequent encroachment of this fair value gap. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna measure this fair value gap again. Okay, that's the 4-hour fair value gap. That's the low of the 4-hour fair value gap, and let's see where the midway of this fair value gap is coming in. That's the midway right here. We are not looking for any trade ideas right now. We are waiting for our next macro to show up in just 9 minutes. Retail traders, they don't know when their setup will show up. We fucking ICT traders, we know when our setup will show up, so we don't get impulsive before those zones. We get impulsive and look for setups. Okay, we don't get impulsive. We look for setup inside of our zones. Okay, what are the zones? 820 to 830, 920 to 930, 950 to 1010, and it goes on like that. So beautiful rejection from the fair value gap, the midway of this fair value gap. Beautiful rejection on Dow too. So I'll drop down on the 5-minute chart, or sorry, 3-minute chart on Dow. Look at the rejection, folks, on Dow. Okay, I didn't took this trade on Nasdaq, okay, but from where did price rejected? From here. Do you guys see a breaker block again? On 1-minute time frame, I do see these up close candles as our breaker block. Lower low, new lower low. So these up close candles becomes our breaker block. Breaker block right here. I'll consider this up close candle as our breaker block. This last one, as this is a huge candle, and if you measure the breaker block from the low to the high, the midway of this breaker block will come somewhere here. That's the reason I'm only outlining this one. So I'm probably not gonna take this trade, but let's see how this setup paints out. Okay, that's the breaker block that I'm expecting to hold price towards the buy side liquidity. Okay, I'm indicating market in one freaking direction, and the direction is towards the buy side liquidity, and this breaker block will get activated once price closes a candle body above it. Okay, okay, Sam is saying pretty much deserved. Why fully not deserve, Sam? Sheikh Ghazi is saying your experience is so valuable, bro. I had so many doubts about the price action, but your experience shone through as always. Thank you, Sheikh Ghazi. Morgore is saying this breaker block setup is fire, bro. Yeah, I know, bro. It is fire, and it repeats every single day. It shows up every single day. You may be sick, you may not be looking at chart, but the breaker block is there. Look at it here. Okay, you know what I'm expecting, so you don't basically need me anymore to handhold you. You know, once price closes the candle's body above the breaker block, we expect to see price taking out the buy side liquidity. Where is the buy side liquidity? That's where the buy side liquidity is resting. It is internal buy side liquidity, by the way. Okay. Do you guys see? You guys saw me outlining another breaker block here again in front of you, and it's delivering again the same way. Look at it. The same deliveries, same breaker block, same setup, but with it builded. I built this narrative with logic. Okay. A lot of folks, they will not know that price can reverse from here. Why? Because they will not look at the higher time frame. I'm looking at the higher time frame. That's a 4-hour fair value gap. What I did here, I measured this fucking 4-hour fair value gap, and I outlined the midway of this fair value gap. Okay, and I told you that's the ideal scenario for price to reverse. We already know it. And then I dropped down to the 5-minute, 3-minute chart, 1-minute chart, and what did we saw? Price presented its hand. Price showed its hand to us. Okay. Right, generating a lower low, new lower low. So this up close candle becomes our breaker block. Simple. Nothing gets simpler than this. We already know the how fair value gap behaves. We know the ideal scenario. Then we drop down to the lower time frame. We wait for a stop hunt. We wait for our macro zones. That's it. Then you have a setup. Execute on that accordingly. Keep doing that over time. If you are following the risk management, you will pass any challenge out there. Okay, that's a guarantee. If you can follow the risk management, by the way. So this setup that formed, it wasn't inside of our macro zone. And suppose I took this setup on 1-minute chart at this candle, okay? Then I would have took a partial here at this fair value gap, at this old fair value gap. How do I know that this fair value gap is a level where I should take a partial? Because from this fair value gap, price already got a reverse. Price already got support, okay, towards the sell side. That's a CB. Why is it here? It's here for price to send towards the sell side. And what do you see? Price came up. Do you guys see any candles body closure above the midway of this fair value gap? If I measure this fair value gap, okay, what I'm saying to you right now, it works as a confidence, okay? So if you're getting bored, you should know that you are not confident in your own analysis. That's how I'm confident. That's how I'm able to call market in front of so many people with confidence. So I'm gonna measure this fair value gap, and what do you guys see? Price came up, right? Didn't close the candle's body above the midway. So what do we expect? We expect to see price remaining heavy towards the sell side. When you see something like this, what it will indicate to you, that suppose you took this trade, it will indicate to you, okay, it's time for you to close this trade. Okay, that's the reason I focus more on measuring a concept. It gives you confidence. It tells you, okay, how price will behave in future. So suppose you were in this trade. Now you know the logic, when you should get out, how you should look at chart. Okay. And if you keep doing it like this for like couple of months, trust me, you will never have to come back in my stream or in my mentor stream or anyone else's stream. Am I watching someone else's stream right now? No, I'm not doing that. I'm independent. I can execute in trades by myself. How did I get there? How did I get here? By tape reading, a lot of tape reading. Okay, that's the only way. That's the medicine that you should take every day. Tape reading. It's a fucking pill, a red pill, and you want to take it every single day. That's how you know when you should wait, when you should not wait, when you can execute, and all that good stuff. So this breaker block failed, and you know the reason why it failed, as I outlined it to you. So an ideal scenario would have been for price to like reject or get support from the consequent, from the midway of a fair value gap. And let's still wait and see how price does it. Okay, we are not trying to force any trade idea, rather we are waiting for a clean setup to show up. That's our lower quadrant. Okay, we know that these two levels, the midway and the lower quadrant, these two levels from where we should expect to see price reversing. Look at dollar right now. Look at the reversal on dollar from the breaker block. So lower quadrant on Dow is here, and Nasdaq, it just got rejected from this fair value gap again. Where is it going? Let's see where it's going. If price is not presenting me any setup at 9:50 to 10:10, I'm just gonna close the stream. I'm literally done for today. I'll rather spend my time at home doing something else, but not looking at the chart. Okay, I'm done for today. If I look at the chart, I'll get impulsive, and inside somewhere I'll see a setup, okay, and I'll take a loss. That's what I don't want to do. So yeah, price is not rejecting, it's just continuing its trend towards the sell side. But at the same time, it generated a lot of liquidity towards the buy side. Look at the liquidity levels that it generated. Equal high, equal high, equal high, equal high. A lot of relative equal highs here. So okay, price revisited our breaker block again, the old breaker block that I outlined in front of you. If you guys remember, when I started my stream, I outlined this breaker block to you: lower low, new lower low. So these up close candles becomes our breaker block, and price came back to this breaker block on Dow again. And on Nasdaq, okay, the breaker block is here, and we do have this fair value gap here. So our 4-hour fair value gap didn't hold price. What I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna mark this fair value gap. This is the unfilled fair value gap though, and above it we have relative equal lows. Relative equal lows as a strong level of liquidity. So we can expect to see a reversal from here. And what I want to see on Dow to consolidate right now. And once Nasdaq hits this fair value gap, then Dow should also explode towards the buy side. Okay, someone just came here and just asking me like, what's my bias on US30? I'm already done for today, bro. So you are just starting your day, and I'm already done today. Look at the relative equal lows down here. That is aligned with this unfilled hourly gap. Sorry, 50-minute gap. So yeah, run into this gap is what I'm expecting to see, a clear up of these equal lows. That will give me a clean narrative to expect to see a buy, okay? So what I think is price will just continue towards the sell side for now, right? And it's 9:54. Let's still wait. I'm not gonna be doing the silver bullet analysis today, okay? In silver bullet, you can look at your own, like which fair value gap price can get support. Build your narrative first, okay? It's easy. Look for logic first. It won't work the first time, it won't work, but after a couple of times it will work for you. So build that narrative first before the silver bullet zone starts, okay? So if I'm building the narrative right now, the narrative telling me for price to come down into this fair value gap, into this higher time frame fair value gap, and then going up, okay? Look how my analysis is getting aligned with the silver bullet zone. As silver bullet, we always look for a setup that will present a fair value gap, okay, and then we will look for a run from that fair value gap. And do we have a fair value gap? Do we see a fair value gap before the silver bullet zone starts? Yes, that's a fair value gap, and that is aligned with this relative equal lows down here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna wait and see if price is coming down into this fair value gap or not, and once it does, after that I'll look for a setup. If I'm still here, okay, if I'm still feeling to be here, it will turn to inversion. Romeo is saying it will turn into inversion. This fair value gap you are talking about. Why? Tell me the logic why it will turn into an inversion. If it's turning into an inversion, what will it will basically do? It will support price towards the sell side, right, Romeo? Then why? Why are you expecting price to go deeper into sell side, Romeo? Why? So on Dow, that's what I'm looking at. On Dow, Dow is going below the midway of this fair value gap. So what I'm expecting to see is clear to you guys, right? A run into this fair value gap, then a run into buy side liquidity. So we are waiting for this to happen. And we are inside of our macro zone, by the way, 950 to 1010. That's when we have a macro. And we also have, like, if price is not presenting us a setup inside our macro, we do have a silver bullet zone. 10 to 11, the whole period we look for a silver bullet to show up. So I'm expecting to see the silver bullet work inside this zone on NQ. This 5-minute fair value gap, right? That's what I'm expecting to see it. This 50-minute unfilled fair value gap. And if it's hitting this fair value gap, okay, we will also have a breaker block right here. These up close candles, lower low, clean swing low. So I want to see price creating another swing low inside this fair value gap, okay? Now the price came down here. Don't get emotional with each of these candle. Okay, some people here, okay, now price is buying, I should buy right now. No, you should wait and let price hit this fair value gap. Why? If I take you back onto the time, you can see price generated relative equal lows again. So what it's doing is building liquidity and emotions for the retail traders. Dow is moving in our favor, but the better market structure, the better price action is on US100. And what is dollar doing? Look at dollar, okay? I'm just gonna talk a little bit about dollar again. Look at dollar. Look at the rejection in dollar from this fair value gap, okay? That's the fair value gap. I told you guys that's a unicorn. Now do you guys see why it's a unicorn? A unicorn is a strong level of liquidity. Just like we see a BPR, a unicorn is like that. Once price goes into a unicorn, activates a unicorn, it just want to remain heavy towards the sell side. What do you see here? So I think you guys got another question. Like you guys asked me how I decide my daily bias. That's how I do it. I'm not like expecting to see, I'm not predicting the whole daily bias. I'm only predicting the bias for the session when I'm gonna be trading. I'm gonna be trading from 8 to 11. That's it. After that, I'm not trading. So that's the bias I care about, the AM session bias. So that was my AM session bias. After that, price can reverse, but I'm not in front of the chart. Very less that I care. So I still want to see price coming down and hitting this fair value gap. It just generated liquidity right here again. So we are inside of our silver bullet zone. Okay, the folks who are asking for signals, I do see someone here. He's asking me, looking in silver bullet buy, right? Then a question mark. So you are blocked. I'm not doing a signal service here, bro. Another newbie coming here and he just commenting like ICT loyalist. That's his name. Please, what's the time frame he used on the silver bullet lecture? Bro, are you fucking blind? He just launched a video yesterday about telling us the time of silver bullet. So go back and watch that video and never come back to my channel. So you are blocked too. I fucking hate newbies. Newbies can get their question answered from ICT's channel. That's the basic question. What does that mean? They're not putting the work in, okay? They're just coming here for the signal. So don't feel bad for them. They're lazy. They deserve it. So that's the breaker block, but I'm not expecting to see this breaker block activating right now. I want to see this breaker block getting activated after price comes down. Okay, taps into this 15-minute fair value gap, and then I want to see this breaker block getting activated. Okay, and Dow, look at Dow. Dow provided liquidity couple of times, the sell side liquidity after it hit the midway of our fair value gap. So these up close candles are our breaker block right here. I'll consider these two up close candles as our breaker block. But I'm not gonna execute on Dow. I'm gonna execute on US100. That's what giving me a better analysis. So I'm gonna stick with it. And as I told you guys, I'm expecting a run into this 50-minute fair value gap first. then the breaker block can get activated. Okay, my problem is not with the newbies, okay? My problem, as someone was saying here, is a person is just being lazy, okay? Am I lazy here? I'm coming out here, I'm talking in front of you, and then I'm outlining this everything in front of you for free. I'm putting the work in. That's the reason I'm seeing the progress in me. And that's how they should do it. Someone is coming here and asking me, what's the silver bullet time? Bro, is that a question? No. That's the reason I hate them. They're so lazy and they just wanna take a shortcut. It's okay, they will learn, okay? They will learn that shortcut doesn't exist. The holy grail that they're looking for, it doesn't exist. So yeah, it will take time for them. So price is just chopping around, right? On 1 minute time frame, but on 3 minute, on higher time frame. I think if price is not hitting this fair value gap, okay, first, then if it's coming up into this fair value gap, then it will reject from this fair value gap and hunt this unfilled fair value gap on 50-minute chart from 50-minute chart. But it's following my analysis. I told you guys that I don't want to see this breaker block getting activated right now. I wanted to see price hitting this fair value gap first, and we saw it right now, as I expected. So now let's see if price wanna reverse, okay? Now I'm not pushing the button right now. You guys will never see me pushing the button with one confirmation. I need more confirmation. I need a stop hunt here again. I got it. That's the stop hunt. These up close counters becomes my breaker block. So now I wanna see price supporting my trade idea. If it's remaining heavy towards the sell side, then my whole analysis is wrong, right? I wanted to see price getting reversed from this fair value gap. So if it's not doing that, there's no point of me forcing a trade idea early rather than waiting. So they both are like moving together with dollar. If you look at the dollar chart, you see dollar is providing buy side liquidity, having a lot of choppiness. Indices same. So early this morning when I started the stream, someone was here and he told me, like, as we saw London expanded higher, provided buy side liquidity aggressively, we can expect to see Monday to be consolidating. What he was doing, he was just following the saying of ICT blindly without looking at the chart with logic, like price generated sell side liquidity, so it should not be consolidating. Okay, it can consolidate, I may be wrong, but what's the logic saying? Price should deliver towards the sell side liquidity, right? So don't follow a structure, don't follow a model blindly. Like, we are not pattern trader, okay? We are not that. We are not just implementing and waiting for a pattern to show up. No, before that we build the logic, build the narrative. That's what we do. So I think price will not give me any trade idea right here. I wanted to see price reversing from this fair value gap. It didn't. So what I'm gonna do right now, that will be it for today, folks. You can look for your silver bullet trade, but to me, if what I believe is that like I'm done, okay? And I don't want to look at chart. I want to do other stuff. I do have other stuff to do, so I'm gonna do that. That will be it for today. That's it. And if you guys enjoyed my live stream, you can hit the thumbs up button and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Till then, peace, take care.